Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, today we are going to discuss the 5 key rules for good writing and for professional writing. So, this lecture series is about the professional writing, and we have earlier on discussed few grammatical rules for this professional writing. Now, overall, there are few generalized rules that we need to follow, and these are the 5 key rules that we need to follow for the professional writing. Basically, what is the professional writing? Professional writing is quite concise and to the point, and we have discussed too much about it in the 7 C's of communication. So professionally, people have not a lot of time to read the things. They want that whatever is the real information, whatever is the target of the communication, they get to that bottom line as soon as possible. So for that purpose, we need to be clear as well in different readers, because as we have discussed, the writing skills are dependent on your reading skills. So different writers have become the writers after reading a lot of things, so they may become a writer after reading the literature. So in the literature, there are the long details, and sometimes these are not to the point, so lingering on strategy is used. But in this professional genre of writing, you need to be more precise and accurate and time saving as well. So for this purpose, the first principle that you need to be followed is basically you need to come straight to the point. Come straight to the point, don't beat into the bushes. And while you're coming in the straight to the point, you are thinking that you are saving the reader's time. But one very important thing, while you are saving the reader's time, you must think that your tone is not going to be harsh. So it must be courteous. So that's why you need to adapt courtesy while you are coming straight to the point. So in the meanwhile, while you're coming straight to the point but you are not getting courteous, so it may also cause problem. So here are the few examples that I have written. You can read them. Please be informed that our monthly management meeting will be held on Tuesday 28th August 2021 in this room. Now you can see here, please is courteous. Then further here you can see when and where and what it is monthly meeting. So as in the beginning of this communication skills, I told you that all the C's, the more the C's are followed in a message production, the more the message will be effective and the communication will be effective. So here you can see this is courteous, and this is concise, and this is clear, and this is complete as well. So there is another example. You can see, please note that the fire alarms throughout the company will be tested next Tuesday 14th July, whatsoever it is. So now this is also clear. I wish to advise you that Mrs. Noreen Rana is no longer with this department. So here this is wish to advise you. Here he is not using the word I am going to order you and like this one. So this advice here is basically is a kind of warning. You can see this is a bit indirect message. For example, Mrs. Noreen Rana, she has violated some rules, some principles, or any kind of, she would have been involved in any kind of misconduct, so she has been fired. But here other people are being informed or are being intimated in such a way that they should learn the message, and it has been indirectly said, I wish to advise you, मैं आपको नसीहत करता हूँ कि मिसेस नारा आपके साथ नहीं है, and this is a courteous message that whosoever will do the same thing which Mrs. Rana has done, he will be no longer with this department. So this is how the bad message is conveyed. So bad message में आपने पहली चीज़ को, किसी एक एग्जाम्पल को अगर आप बता रहे हैं मिसेस राना को, तो उसको आपने ऑर्डर या एडवाइस या उस फायर्ड के सेंस में नहीं कहना। अब इसको सिंपली ये भी कहा जा सकता था, यू शुड नो दैट मिसेस राना हैज़ बिन फायर्ड, सो दिस वुड बी नॉट कर्टस। मैसेज तो कन्वे हो जाता लेकिन ज़रा से ज़्यादा हार्श होता। सो दैट्स वाई you have to come to the straight to the point and save the reader's time. So there are few further examples you can go through. I have discussed this a bit more because this is a kind of warning. So warning should be given, but warning should be given in such a way that everyone should take it as a warning but take it not as a threat. So now you can understand the difference between warning and threat. So there is a slight difference. Similar difference is here in this message. Hopefully you got it. So further there are the messages, there are few more statements. I'm not going to discuss this. I think this is enough. So now let's go to the second point. What is the second key principle? This is KISS principle. KISS mean K stands for keep it short and simple. Short mean you need to use the sentences which are short. You need not to use the long sentences. And simple means you need to use the simple words. Earlier on while I was teaching you, I told you while you are communicating, keep one thumb principle in your mind, that you are not going to impress, you are going to express your ideas. So when you are going to impress, you try to use a very heavy kind of vocabulary, or we can say very aphoristic kind of vocabulary to put an impression on the people. But here you need to use the simple words to facilitate your audience. So keep short sentences and simple words. So keep it short and simple. This is the basically KISS principle, and it's very important. So now keeping in view this thing, means it doesn't mean that you can't use complex sentences. You can use complex sentences, you can use even compound and complex sentences, but the thought should be embedded in such a way that it should be easily understandable for the people. It means that you should not write such a sentence that the whole paragraph of 10 lines is in one sentence. So break it somewhere and keep it a bit simple and short for your reader's ease, so that he can grasp the information that has been given in the sentence quite easily. Then you need to use the simple words that I have already discussed, and we have discussed in all this thoroughly in Clarity, the lecture which is available in 7 C's, and that is related to clarity. We have discussed this thoroughly. If you have any confusion, you can go through that lecture again. And there is another example similar to those one. There were few words we have in Clarity. We discussed the camouflage words, we discussed the some kind of obsolete words and these kind of terminologies in detail. Here we are simply discussing that these are the few words like commence. You can simply say start. Utilize, you can simply say use. So then terminate, you purchase, you can use buy. So there are different choices that you have. So dispatch, like delivered. So you can use the easy word for your audience. Now you can understand easily this utilize is easy or use is easy. This purchase is easy or buy is easy. Buy is concise and also easy to understand. Now there are a few phrases that we have discussed. Come to a decision. Now uselessly making it long. So this can be replaced by decided or decides. Okay, okay, let me write one sentence for you. Finally I came to a decision. Now this instead of this one you can write finally I decided. So now this is simple and easily understandable, while this is also simple, but probably it may cause a problem, so you are using it uselessly longer and not to the point that we have discussed in the very first slide. Mean come straight to the point. So this is how you can choose these alternate things here to avoid any kind of confusion. Fine. So this was the second important rule key rule for a good professional writing. Now, you can do one activity yourself if you get the time. You can make the groups, split out the groups. So now this is the online class. That's why we can't do this activity. You can split the people in the group, and then they can write these kind of words. Sometimes these words are quite simple for few people. This commence is a quite easy word. This utilize is definitely an easy word. So you can work on these things. You can make a list of longer words and short word and easy word and difficult words. So these were the two key principles for effective writing. Now this is, again, I told you, as we discussed, in completeness and clarity, it's better that you use active voice instead of passive voice. Now let's have a look at this example. So the study was completed by the marketing director. Now let me make it red for you, because it is correct. But rather than this one, if we say that the marketing director completed the study, now you can easily analyze that this active sentence is more clear and giving more information quite easily, or this passive sentence. So definitely you can come to the conclusion that this active sentence. So let's go to another example. Separate requisitions should be prepared by each buyer. Now this is a passive one. Instead of this passive one, what we can do, each buyer should prepare separate requisitions. This is quite clear now. So this is how you can use active voice instead of passive voice to make your sentences more clear and easy, and in professional writing they can be more effective. But sometime you have limited choice, so there you can use only passive voices. So then you can use passive voice. It is not necessary and not a thumb rule, that you, a hard and fast rule, that you always need to use active voice. But active voice sentences are more facilitating, so it's better where you can use active voice instead of passive voice. Then let's move towards the fourth principle that I have already discussed. These are not like grammatical principles. So here, even while you are communicating, you are speaking as well. So in professional writing and professional speaking, you need to use the right tone, which is very important. Sometimes our tone is quite harsh. Sometimes कुछ लोग बाज़ औक़ात जो आम बात भी कर रहे होते हैं, तो उनका स्टाइल नेचुरली बिल्डअप ऐसे होता है कि जैसे लगता है पत्थर मार रहे हैं. तो इसलिए जब आपने बात करनी है, अपने टोन जो है ना वो बड़ी राइट रखनी है. बहुत ज़्यादा इमोटिव टोन ना हो, इमोशनल टोन ना हो. और सम टाइम इमोशनल टोन आपकी हार्श भी हो जाती है, सम टाइम बहुत इंटेंस होती है. सो अवॉइड दैट इंटेंसिटी. Try to keep yourself as neutral as well. So this intensity, whether in positive way or whether in negative way, here I have put a cross on it. You can see that whether in a positive way or in a negative way, when you are too emotive, it can affect your communication. So for your effective communication, you need to be neutral. Your tone should be very much positive. Like here you can see this guy is saying sit down. If someone is saying you like sit down, it's quite bossy. So you would not like this one. So instead of this one, if someone, even if they are saying please take a seat, so probably this sit down, even if the gesture and posture is quite light and easy, then it would not seem so harsh. But here you can see the facial expressions, it seems so harsh. So even you can use sit down, but in a polite way, that can be positive. But here two different sentences have been phrases have been used. Please take a seat, that is a bit better. Even you can say please sit down, that is a bit better. But here you can say this is imperative, and this imperative is quite bossy one, and this imperative is quite polite one. So that's why you need to use the polite way of speaking that we have already discussed thoroughly in the courtesy. So this was the fourth principle for your very effective professional writing. Then move on to the fifth one. Try to use modern language. Don't use obsolete words or obsolete language. Sometime if you are trying to use such a words, if you read in old Greek plays or in the plays of Shakespeare, you will find out there is a word if I'm writing it spelling correctly or not correctly, I'm not sure. Okay, let me make it apothecary. And yes, apothecary. So I would like to ask you, do you know what's the meaning of this word? Most of the students who are not related to literature, who are not well aware about the old English, they won't know it. So this apothecary is basically we use for the physician, or in the modern term for doctor. So now doctor is a modern day language, whereas apothecary is the Shakespearean language and the old one. So try to use the modern language. Then there is another very common example that you have gone through in your first year, second year, even in your poems. You would find out this word thy, and there is a word thou. So few people would be aware about it, but this is the old language. Instead of thy, you can use you. Instead of thou, you can use your, which is quite easy. So now you can find out that these three words, I'm going to make them red. These three words are from the old day language, from the obsolete, if I say I'm not wrong to say, or if we say outdated kind of language which is not being used in the modern day word. So these red ones were used, while in the modern day language, doctor, you and your, even we can say a 5-year kid, he can easily understand. Even if he's from Pakistan or she's from Pakistan, they can quite easily understand you, your and doctor. एंड इवन हमारे तो अब तो उर्दू में भी डॉक्टर के लिए डॉक्टर ही इस्तेमाल होता है, तबीब इस्तेमाल नहीं होता. सो दीज आर द क्वाइट acquainted, well acquainted word in our society, in every society, while we are using the English language. So that's why sometime again मैं उसी बात पे आऊँगा कि यहाँ हम जो कुछ वर्ड्स की बात कर रहे थे, समटाइम हम इस चक्कर में कि हमने बड़ी पिथी काइंड ऑफ वोकेबलरी यूज़ करनी है, बड़ी डिफ़िकल्ट काइंड ऑफ वोकेबलरी यूज़ करनी है, तो हम इस किस्म के ऑब्सोलीट वर्ड यूज़ कर देते हैं. तो बेहतर है कि आप इस किस्म के वर्ड्स को अवॉइड करें और आप डोंट ट्राई टू इम्प्रेस, ट्राई टू एक्सप्रेस योर आइडियाज़ एंड थाट्स, और आप क्वाइट ईजीली कन्वे करें ताकि लोगों के लिए ईजी अंडरस्टैंडिंग हो उसमें. सो दीज वर द 5 key rules for the professional writing. So you must understand these ones. So this is in these 5 rules. This KISS principle is also a 4-letter word, and based on the 4 principle, keep it short and simple, short sentences and simple words. So this principle I have mentioned here on the title because this also encompasses all these 5 principles. So keep it short. Short mean come straight to the point. That's why I'm at the end discussing. And simple mean you have found even active voice is the short one and passive voice is the long one. And as far as sentences is concerned, so active voice, a shorter sentence is preferred to passive voice. Whereas simple words that we have discussed thoroughly, if you use simple words and simple tone, so that would be better. So all principles have been summed up at the end briefly. If you have any query, you can comment and you can ask me. Thank you very much for now.